I'm Owen Bigland. This is the Inside Edge video blog. Okay, I want to run through a bunch of topics that are in the news here in Vancouver real estate. It's been a busy month here, so let me just ramble through here about 4 or 5 topics that are in the news and try and wrap this up in about 10 minutes, I hope. So first things first, the February stats from the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board just came out. And again, as I've always said, there is only one true source for market statistics, Vancouver real estate market statistics, and that is from the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board. Every month, around the second or third of the month, they will release all the stats, full stats package for the previous month. Remember, this is the source for real estate statistics because the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board runs the MLS. Every buy and sell is done through the MLS. So I always have to tell people that that is the best source for the statistics. I see so many stats packages out there all the time, people tweeting stuff that the stats have been massaged or manipulated. Remember, you can massage statistics to tell you whatever you want. But for the February stats, just like I had been telling you last month and the month before and all the way through back until last November, February was another off-the-chains record month. The market is extremely hot now, bordering now into white-hot territory. The sales numbers, it was a 43% increase in February over our 10-year average, a 73% increase over February of 2020. The active sales to listing ratio, which is the best stat that I always tell people, it's a good, simple stat that can't really be manipulated. Anything over 20 is considered a seller's market. Well, I can tell you the overall market for the Greater Vancouver Real Estate Board, condos, detached, and townhome, is around 43%. If you break it down a little further, apparently townhomes right now are running active sales to listings ratio of 62%. That is just crazy. I don't think I've ever seen that stat that high. So in other words, there are far, far more buyers than there are sellers. This has been going on since late last year, and it is picking up steam. Prices are going up month over month. There is very little inventory, some of the lowest inventory I've ever seen. You could tweak these stats a little bit more. I mean, if you were interested in getting a good quality 1-bedroom in downtown Vancouver or Mount Pleasant or Kitsilano in a good strata, good location, under, let's call it 675, the sales to active listings ratio is probably hovering close to 100. I mean, you're going to have 8 or 9 buyers for every seller, and I know that because it's a waiting game right now. I can tell you the last couple I had 4 sales last month to investors for the month of February. 2 of the deals representing the buyers I was able to buy with bully offers. We got lucky. They got listed. I know the building. I've sold in the building many times. I know the floor plan and everything else on it. And I had investor buyers ready to rock. I was able to put an offer in on one of them with 2 days on market and the other one 1 day on market. As a matter of fact, it was about 5 hours on market. We wrote pretty much full ask. I was able to put in subjects on it, just a quick 5-6 day subject removal, and we were able to buy both of them just under full asking price. But most listings like that now, realtors are listing them, including myself, showing them for a week, then taking offers next week. And for the most part, we're getting into multiple offers, and those units are selling well above asking price. Detached, townhome, and condos now are all selling above asking. And I've had some crazy bidding wars here in February on the listing side. So we'll see where it goes, but I can continue to see that trending like this at least for the next 2 or 3 months. Eventually the music will stop. The market will take a bit of a breather, maybe later this summer. I don't know, but interest rates are strong or low. That's the real driver here. For right now, this market is very active and seems to be getting more active as we move into the spring here. A couple other things here in the news. I hope this will be the last time I talk about this, but I got to put one final nail in the coffin here of CMHC head Evan Siddal. So he's now leaving his post next month, and I guess he wanted to kind of make amends somehow. I don't know, it was kind of a half-assed apology tweet storm that he did a couple of days ago, which I found very strange, as did a lot of people. But he basically went on, he's been, of course, dead wrong on his prediction that the market was going to take a major correction. Let's just recap here. He did that last spring during COVID. And talk about the Vegas odds being in your favor, probably about 95% in his favor by saying the market was going to go down when we were in a COVID lockdown. But hey, the real estate gods as well as the financial gods can play some funny tricks on you. And even when you think the odds are almost 99% in your favor, you can go wrong. And that's what I was saying all last spring. And that's why I got into that dust up with Mr. Siddal, talking about how people should be buying last spring. Don't over leverage. Take the leverage though, buy and then hold the property for 10, 15, 20 years. Take advantage of the principal residence exemption. He thought that was horrible advice I was giving. It turned out it was very good advice. Those tweets I was putting out there aged very well for me. His, not so much. But, he kind of came out now saying, well, I was wrong. Listen, CMHC is not all knowing on real estate. Well, I was telling you guys that last year. Of course, they're not all knowing on real estate. They're not selling homes in Vancouver. They're not selling 40 or 50 homes a year like I am. My brokerage did close to $2 billion last year in sales in the Lower Mainland. I'm doing deals every single week. CMHC isn't privy to any of this stuff. They're not privy to who the buyers are, how many showings I'm getting on my homes, what kind of offers I'm getting, what type of financing clauses I'm getting. CMHC was still under the impression that people were buying homes in Vancouver using high ratio, 5 or 10% down, which has been long gone. Pretty much everyone is buying with conventional mortgages here, so they're not even using CMHC. They're not even involved in these deals for the most part in Vancouver. Remember, anything over $1 million, you have to use conventional mortgage, 20% down. I can tell you that for my Vancouver buyers, and I'm on the listing side, I'm privy to both ends. I know what the financing is. And I can count on one hand the amount of high ratio financing I've seen in the last couple of years. There's virtually none in Vancouver. But the other thing he said, we didn't have a crystal ball. I was wrong, but hey, I don't have a crystal ball. Well, the thing that I've always been pounding home here with Mr. Siddal, a couple of things here. A, it is not CMHC. CMHC has no business predicting markets here, calling for corrections and crashes. That's not the mandate of CMHC. CMHC should be seen but not heard. And that's always the way it's been up until Mr. Siddal came along. He fancies himself, I think, as a bit of a rock star. Likes to be active on Twitter, engages in a lot of arguments on Twitter. Not a good look. But that's not, you have to stay in your lane, as I said last year. They shouldn't be out there making short-term market predictions. That's not what CMHC is supposed to be doing. They're supposed to be helping people get into home ownership. That's their mandate. But the other big problem I had with this is that here is the head of CMHC making a big prediction that the market is going to correct quite heavily. And at the time, we're in COVID, hey, it made sense. A lot of people, though, of course, he's coming from a position of authority. A lot of people would have looked at that and said, hey, honey, this is the head of CMHC. He must know something we don't. When, of course, now he's admitted that he doesn't. They're not all knowing and they don't have a crystal ball. But where was that caveat back last spring when he was making it? It was nowhere to be found. As a matter of fact, he was going on radio stations and newspapers, kind of doubling down and talking down the book is what he was doing. So I can understand that he did a tremendous amount of damage to a lot of people. And I saw in the Twitter feeds here, and I've seen in the comment section in the newspapers, how much damage he's done. He forced some people to panic sell. They're thinking he must know something we don't. Let's sell the house, we'll rent and buy back in. And there was all kinds of threads in there about people that did just that, and now they're angry, and I don't blame them. They've sold a house in southern Ontario, and now it's worth $300,000 more than what they sold it for 12 months ago or 10 months ago. Or I even had this on my business. It froze some buyers on the sideline. I had several buyers that when that predictions came out, they decided, hey, let's take a break. CMHC heads thinks that the market's going to crash. What are you going to say to these people? Now, some of them I was able to talk off the ledge, but it's not, it's something that I'm not going to get all that heavily into. You either want to buy and you're going to follow what I call my golden rules, where you're going to buy the home, enjoy it, keep it for at least 8 to 10 years, hopefully longer, and you're going to do fantastic. But it's going to spook some people, and it did. And there's lots of stories of people that got spooked on the sidelines, and now the market has taken off without them. And now a lot of them are going to need a very, very sharp correction if they're going to get back in the market, which is probably not going to happen. We'll get a correction, but I don't think it's going to revert back to where it was back COVID time last spring. So that's the damage that did, and that's always the point of contention I've had with Mr. Siddal. He's not in a position to be doing that kind of stuff, and he spooked people and got people into knee-jerk reactions. Terrible. Now he comes out with the caveat that, hey, listen, I'm not all-knowing on real estate. Yeah, we already know that. And I don't have a crystal ball. We know that too. That's what I was telling people last year. A little late for that though, but it is what it is. Last thing here. These have been coming out. The BC speculation tax declaration, or what's known as the NV tax. We just finished, if you live in Vancouver like me, I just finished filling out not long ago all my NV taxes for my Vancouver properties. Now I've got to do my spec tax one for all my Vancouver properties and my Richmond properties. So, a lot of stuff on Twitter, a lot of stuff on the news on this as well. The NV tax, right on the thing here, 99% of British Columbians are exempt from this. So my question is, well, then why are we going through all the hassle to do it? They don't talk whole lot about what kind of revenue this is bringing in. It's not much, I can tell you. Now, I know I saw the guys, my friends at Step Up Now, and some of the other people that are trying to hold government accountable for expenses and taxes and everything else. Last I heard is that the Vancouver empty homes tax is revenue neutral. And I can believe it, meaning that the pittance that they are collecting in that tax, what's coming in is going out the back door in administration costs to run the program. We were promised hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue and thousands of empty homes in Cole Harbour and the West End put on the market. And it was going to bring in all this revenue to build housing, and it was going to drop rental rates dramatically because all these empty units would flood the market. And that simply has not happened. Let's be honest here. Here we are, March 2021. The real estate market is on a rocket ride here. Prices are up. I can tell you that the rental market now has turned dramatically from this time last year, or even since last summer. No problem finding tenants. I just had to put a new tenant in one of my units in Crosstown. No problem, got a nice rental increase, and I'm working with investor buyers that are taking possession of units every single month, sometimes 2 or 3 a month I've got. No issues getting tenants. Not in the buildings I'm selling them in. They've got their pick of good quality tenants here, and the typical one bed now, $2,200, $2,250 a month with parking. So it hasn't done much for rental rates, and those are rising. I'm looking at the spec tax thing here, some of their highlights here. This is going to turn empty homes into condos that can be rented. Well, I don't think that's happening. They're saying here 11,000 condos in Vancouver. I don't know. I don't see it because it sure hasn't put a dent in the rental market, and it hasn't put a dent in people listing these homes and the prices going down. They're going up. It discourages real estate speculation that inflates prices. Well, again, what has this done the last couple of years? Prices are going up, not down. And when it comes to speculation, I've done many blogs on this. I know there's that myth that people are buying homes, they're speculating, they're buying homes and then leaving them empty for some strange reason, and then I guess flipping them in a couple of years at great profit. I can tell you that is not happening. At least it's not prevalent in any way. And the other thing is, why would if someone wants to speculate, when you're buying an investment property, you're an investor, but hey, you're speculating. You're going to buy the property. If you're one of my clients, you're going to hold it for 10 or 15 or 20 years, let the tenant pay down the mortgage, and then review it then, after the tenant has paid down your mortgage. But essentially, yeah, you're speculating, you're an investor there. But why would somebody who's going to speculate on real estate, why would they buy a home and leave it empty for a couple of years and then sell it? Why not put a tenant in it You're going to collect on a typical one bedroom now 30,000 a year, no problem. So why not collect 60,000 in rent for the next 2 years and then evaluate the property? And if you really want to sell it then and you made some money, go ahead. But you've made 60K in rent while you're hold it. Why would you leave it empty? It doesn't make any sense. And besides, we already have a tax aimed at speculators. It's called capital gains tax. So I'm just reading through this. I'm sure all of you have gotten these here as well. You know, they're planning on, they want to deliver, the NDP is going to deliver 114,000 affordable homes over the next 10 years. That's a lot of homes. I don't know, maybe someone can tell me, how are they doing so far on that 114,000? That's a lot of homes. Cracking down on money laundering. Well, I've done lots of blogs on the money laundering thing. Did some people buy homes 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago with money that wasn't declared? I'm sure they did. Was there enough to move the needle at all on a $150 billion annual business for the Lower Mainland? Not a chance. Not moving the needle. So, I don't know. The envy tax, from what I hear, maybe someone can tell me, I know the Vancouver empty homes tax is pretty much revenue neutral. They're not making, you notice how they don't talk about the revenue they're bringing in on this thing, because it's a pittance. And I believe, you know, the BC spec tax is kind of the same thing. I don't see them bringing in a ton of money. 99% of British Columbians are exempt from it anyways. But that's what it is. Envy tax, you know, a lot of these things with the envy taxes and, well, the increase in the property taxes, the, you know, the not restrictions on what you can raise rent. As I said many times before, and the strata insurance increases, you know, all these things end up getting passed on to the tenants. If you're an owner, if you're a principal resident, you're going to pay it. But if you're an investor, you're passing all these friction costs and added costs and all the bureaucracy and the time it takes to file all these things, because it takes time, especially when you've got as many properties as I own. And I've really got to keep a real close tab on this stuff too. That's the other thing. I've got a software package now that, because I'm paranoid about ever missing a filing on one of these. And most of my properties are in Vancouver, so I've got to file this and the Vancouver one. I'm hit doubly on all these. But all this stuff eventually gets passed on in the form of higher rents, and that's something that the NDP and the City of Vancouver, I don't think, really fully realizes. I'm Owen Bigland. As always, thanks for watching. I'll see you next week.